Hey everyone, Luke here. Hope you're doing well. And in this video, I wanted to talk about suicide. Okay. Now, why this video came to mind is because something a lot of people are struggling with is suicide at this time. Okay. So the reason why is because of this crazy lockdown, right? People are locked in their homes. Suicide rates are going up if you look at statistics, and it's because they can't go out, they can't work. They're staying inside too much. They're watching too much mainstream news, which is feeding them fear porn, basically. And depression rates and suicide rates are going up. I would say especially in men. Okay, just because in general suicide rates do tend to go up in men. The reasons for this, I don't know. Maybe because men are more hormonally driven, they're more likely to actually take the action of killing themselves, whereas women are a little more thoughtful and not quite as they're not quite as testosterone driven, and like more they're not quite as likely to take the actual action of going through with killing themselves. Men are just more likely to go through with sort of direct action like that, so that could be part of the reason. Also, I think that a big reason is because loss of work affects men more. Women are obviously a little more geared towards staying at home and raising the children, whereas men tend to be a little more geared toward going out and working in the world, right? And if they can't do that, then a man can be void of purpose, right? So for many men, their work is their life, and it's their mission. And if they're shut in and they're not able to do that, all of a sudden their life becomes void of meaning. Okay, they no longer have any reason to live, and so they're more likely then to commit suicide. Although obviously suicide does affect both sexes. Okay, I'm just making rough generalizations. Okay, so don't take it too much to heart. Now let's talk about suicide in general. Okay, and why you shouldn't commit suicide. Okay, the first reason is that you have to realize that part of your soul contract was that you chose to come to Earth and have certain experiences. Okay, so it's important to realize that you came to Earth, you chose to come to Earth at this time. Okay, and you chose your parents, and you chose what experiences you were going to have, no matter how difficult that might seem. Okay, that you chose to be born into poverty, or that you chose to have a debilitating illness that you were born with, or any sort of disease or whatever. Okay, but it is a universal truth that if you come to grasp with, then it will help you immensely. Okay, so you came to Earth at this time of your choosing to learn certain things. Okay, and if you cut that short all of a sudden, then you're not going to have as much of a chance to learn the lessons you could have learned. And then when you come back, whether it's to Earth or another planet, whenever you live your life again, okay, some religions might call this reincarnation. Okay, whenever your soul chooses another body, and you enter another soul contract, you're still gonna have to learn those lessons. Okay, and your soul won't have advanced as much as it could have. Okay, so that's an important thing to understand. Okay, that you're still going to have to learn the lessons, right? And so you're cutting it short. Okay, so that's an important philosophy to understand, no matter what your situation may or may not be. Okay. Also, just coming to the understanding that you chose it, and that there are still certain lessons you need to learn. Okay. And that kind of goes along with what I said before. So that would be number one. Number two would be that it's selfish. Okay? It's selfish for you to commit suicide. Okay? There's people that depend on you, whether you realize it or not. Society depends on you. Earth depends on you. And for many people that commit suicide, their families are dependent on them. This is especially the case if you have a family, okay, and relatives and loved ones. Sometimes these people are depending on you, and it's selfish of you to give up. Okay, it's selfish of you to think that you belong to yourself and that you have the right to end yourself. Okay, the truth is that you belong to God, and it's God's choice what you belong to Him, and you're here to do what God wants done on earth. Okay, and it's selfish of you to end that and to decide that you're going to end it and you're going to not do God's will, because it's not God's will that you commit suicide. Okay, so it's selfish of you inherently. Okay, and that's karma that follows you to the next life. Okay, along with the lessons you didn't learn. One of the major ones is going to be the fact that you were selfish and ending yourself. And in your next life, you're going to have to try to learn the lesson again to not be selfish. Okay, and this will keep going on and on until you finally learn it. And at some later eon. Okay, so why not just learn it this time around? Okay, so that's also an important thing. Is suicide is inherently selfish. Okay, and then a third thing I would say is realizing that everything is temporary. Okay, you might have lost your job, or your wife might have left you, or whatever reason why you might be contemplating suicide. Everything is temporary on this earth. Life itself is temporary. And if you can relax about that, understand that life is temporary, and that all events are temporary, then if you're in the darkest place you've ever been in your life, the only way to go from there is up, right? The only if you're in your darkest moment, the only place to go from that moment is towards the light more, right? And so realize that it is only temporary, and it's important to remind yourself of that if you're having suicidal thoughts. Okay, and most people at some time have had suicidal thoughts. Okay, so if you're having suicidal thoughts, it's important to not judge yourself too much and not think that you're alone. Okay, I mean, I've had when I was younger, a teenager, I had suicidal thoughts. Okay, I mean, most people at some point or another have had suicidal thoughts. Okay, for whatever reason, maybe they're depressed, or I don't know, you have had trauma, like you were raped or something like that. Most people have suicidal thoughts at some point or another. So it's important to understand that you're not alone, and that it's a natural phenomenon that a lot of people go through. Okay, and I would say most people go through. Okay, so that's important to realize, and it is only temporary in most cases. And life will get better. Okay, and there are people that depend on you. One of the top ways to make your life better that I would obviously recommend is doing a nutritional balancing program. Okay, oftentimes depression, and suicidal thoughts are symptoms of us not feeling very good. Okay, most people don't feel very good. Most people have low blood sugar. They don't have their adrenals and their thyroid are underactive. They don't have much energy to accomplish the things that they wish to do. Many people are on prescription drugs that are affecting their mental stability in ways they don't realize. Things like antidepressants, antipsychotics, things like that. And so one of the best ways to get rid of these thoughts is just to feel better and have more energy, right? When you feel good, you feel good about yourself, and you have more energy to what you want to do in life, you're going to naturally not be as depressed, right? You're going to be happy because you can take action, right? And also, taking action is important, okay? So part of getting out of a rut is having the ability to take action. You can't take as much action if you have low energy, right? So that means, let's say you lost your business. If you have enough energy to start a new business, then it won't affect you as much, right? Or any sort of, you can make this extrapolation to any sort of event that might be going on in your life. Okay, all these things take energy and action, and if you have more energy to take more action, these things won't affect you as much. Okay, also just the general feeling of just being healthy, right? So having better hormonal levels. If you have good energy levels and good hormonal levels, you're going to you're going to have you're just going to feel good most of the time, right? And you won't have as much of these thoughts, okay? So of course, the number thing I would recommend is doing a nutritional balancing program so that you can just have more energy and more happiness and have a more fulfilling life where you make better decisions and you feel better about yourself in general, okay? So as far as actual action to take to not have these sort of thoughts, of course, I would recommend a nutritional balancing program, okay? And if you're interested in doing one, you can email me. My email is down below, okay? Still offering the 10% discount, by the way, due to the COVID-19 virus. So, and also alongside that, I would say any sort of action can also help. You know, if you're feeling stuck in a rut, oftentimes coincides with suicidal thoughts or depression. I would say, you know, taking action, okay? Whether starting a new business, making new friends, just going out. You know, walks in nature can help a lot, and especially during the lockdown. Many people, you know, sitting inside all day, especially, you know, with fluorescent lighting, there's a lot of EMF fields, people are around all day. Taking the time to go out into nature can be very helpful, okay? You know, just taking a nice walk in nature. It's much more grounding, and it can help you just, you know, feel better, just the groundedness of nature, okay? Can help you in a lot of ways, okay? You know, you're like going camping or going to the lake or the river or whatever it might be, right? All these things can help a lot. Okay, so I think that's about all the things I wanted to say for this video. Realize that you are loved, whether you realize it or not, and that suicide is, in most cases, not the best option, okay? I mean, in some cases, I would say maybe suicide is the best option, right? If you've been captured as an enemy soldier and they're torturing you to death and there's no way out, perhaps in that case, then suicide is the best option, okay? So I don't want to make the judgment that in every situation there is no circumstance that calls for it. But for the vast majority of people, especially watching this video, I would say it is not your best option. Because again, you're just going to have to learn the lessons in another life, okay? And it's selfish of you to assume that it's within your right to end your life, okay? The world needs you, whether you realize it or not. So get on a program, get healthy, get moving, get in nature, and you will overcome it. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Bye.